Hi, I'm Jeremy. Welcome to our farm, Cornucopia Orchards. We're in the middle of year 2 of building our own house in the Pacific Northwest. We were just approved to cover our insulation finally and just took our drywall delivery. Only things didn't go exactly according to plan, and we ended up having to hoof it all in, stopping at about 8 p.m. at night. So we kind of ended up just putting it just about everywhere in the house, not where we would hope to put it. Now we've got to clean up that mess and get started. Well, we fit it all in. We've got quite a bit of stack down here on the first floor. It's everywhere. We realized it was just getting so late. We better get it all in to the first floor and then stage it to the upstairs. And I think the live load weight would actually include more weight on here. Because, there'd be additional, just your regular, I don't know if they call it dead load or static load or whatever it is, but I was trying to keep the sheathing, this drywall, to underneath what the threshold will be for a live load limit, which is I think 40 pounds per square. All of what I'm standing on, that right there, as far as at least the 12s, and all of those, plus a little bit beyond that, are all going to the second floor, and we still have a few more sheets to put up into the attic. I put in the last little bit of concrete up into the shop for the other project that we're working on up there for the walkway. And, it's just really exciting. We've got a whole bunch of tools that are new for us, and, we used this one a little bit, but really, in order for us to have used this little drywall hanger here extensively yesterday, we would have been moving sheets by ourselves instead of like 2 at a time, and it just seemed more efficient because you don't want 2 people, one holding low, one holding high. And we've got our mud, hopefully enough, back there in the corner. I have some nice corners that I'm excited about. We've never gone, kind of more premium. We've always gone super cheap, so that should be great. I've got some, there it is in there, level 5 tools, skimming blades, and a few just regular tools that are new to us. And we're going to hopefully get some good use out of that. This will be the first time I've actually had a true drywall square. So, I've got the accoutrement, so hopefully we'll be able to deliver, a nice experience for us and deliver a nice finish. We did also get a rolling scaffold back there. And between all of these tools, it's really just going to be up to me to not try and take shortcuts and to not be too freaked out about a little bit of waste with the drywall, because that's always been a problem in the past that has ended up in the finish stage costing us a lot more. We've always wanted to use as much as we can, and with drywall, you use where it's smart, and I need to be smart about that. So we'll see. But the intention is to use full sheets and toss a whole bunch of scrap when we're done, unless it just perfectly fits somewhere else. So first day of, I'm not going to say installing drywall, because I'm not really installing drywall, but I'm kind of prepping. And the reason that I'm prepping instead of actually starting installing is just that I have so much on the first floor in the way. The proper order of things is to install ceilings and then walls. And so I don't want to, I'll show you what I'm working with here and why. I'm not really going to be able to get to the ceilings until I get some of this moved. So as mentioned before, these are 9-foot ceilings, and I've got some of the sheets cut for the walls out of my 12s. And yes, if you're new to the channel or catching up, these are cuts. Those over there are cuts. And I just was not able to find any 54s or any 9-foots. That's just the way it is. And so I'm cutting off of 12s. They gave me a good discount since they couldn't get what I wanted and needed. So there's that at least. But I've got some 8-foots and some 8-foots and a few 12s there stacked. I have a 25 stack there. I have this over here in the way. I have these in the way. In the hall, I've got 2 little stacks on the sides. The floor joists run this way, so I'm just being stupidly cautious here, truly. Since the sheathing runs this way, it should spread that weight, but nevertheless, this is a longer run and barely within what the span allows. So I'm just being ridiculously cautious. But it does mean I can't get in here and put anything in here, nor can I get into the office to put anything into The intention is that my brother is going to be back over hopefully tomorrow or the next day to help me get this stack here, probably makes sense to do that stack there in the office. And I'm shooting for about, I think it was 50. And so I believe it's also this stack here. All of that's going up to the second floor with a few more going up to the attic. We do have a few that we took on our circuitous route to get up there. But I have nowhere that I can install this ceiling right now. Like realistically, I can't get to it. And so I've been cutting these wall pieces. So I've got to get this a little bit better organized so that I can get some storage going on here of these sheets that I've cut to 9s and get them off the floor. And I'd also like to build out this guy right here. It's just a working platform essentially on casters, and that's going to be tremendously useful, especially on the second floor. Probably more once we get to the mud stage than the board stage. So a little bit chilly today, but it hit 70 degrees yesterday. Take a look at this. All the cottonwoods decided it was time to come out in full little green leaves. It's beautiful. So I've gotten a small start here. One sheet directly overhead and working on the next one on this side. And a couple of things that I'm remembering now. It's been some time since I've done my drywall. Cutting your sheets at what you think the distance is for your ceiling between walls is a bad idea. I think I'm going to be leaving 1/4 inch off of that amount the rest of the way for all the other ceilings, because invariably one of the top boards is, your top plates, if you have a double, is usually the lower one is going to be, narrower distance to the other top plate. And so you got to get you're raising this up and you got to get past that hump, and it's going to crack your rock. You should be marking anything that you are not going to be able to see or remember or easily tell. You need to mark it. It's a good idea to be just overly useful to yourself and mark each of those ceiling rafters and ceiling joists, and that way you know where they are. So I've secured the far side of this board, but not this side. And I came down a little bit, enough to where I can poke my head up and see over the insulation. And I just went ahead and put this in right near the edge, but inside of the can, okay? And then ran it over to where I was on the outside of the can. Now I'm on the outside here. And so now what I can do, although this thing is going to be in my way, I thought I'd moved it, and I did move it this way out of the way, but I didn't move it the other way out of the way. So I'll need to do that before I can start here. Maybe just that far. It can be one of the easier ways to do this if you're not setting in a like one of the new canless lights just to cut around it. There's, you know, they have that ring. Woo! Might be dusty. They have that ring around it that's going to cover that up, and so there's a gap between the light and the inside of the can that's that big. Now on this one, I did run into a problem that I'm going to have to mud. Unfortunate. It went around pretty well the whole way except for right here. I hit something because I was holding this too high relative to the can. All right, so essentially what we've got here is a 3/4 is going to fit underneath there, and that's going to be about perfect, honestly, because my hardwood's slightly less than 3/4. So when we go to install this, I can tuck that all the way back underneath there and have that just, you know, my expansion space will be under the drywall. So it'll be anything I want to put is going to work. So when I go to install this first wall sheet, other than the attic and the stairs, so it's not the first one, but it feels like the first one because those were done out of order, and I may have to pull them in order to install the ceilings. I probably have to pull them, which is fine. It is what it is. But the first real wall sheet going up, and you know, I think I've remembered everything I need to do this successfully, quickly, easily. Top row of screws are in, and I mostly try and put them in to the lower of the two top plates. And the reason being, see that screw right there? Zoom in on him. He's a bit of a problem because in order to get him to go in with my screw, with my driver, I had to angle him. I feel like I get a better result if I put it into the lower top plate. The sheet is just hanging free. I've pulled that bottom spacer, that bottom piece that was holding us nice and flush to that, and I just got to fill the field. So now we can put in one or two either in the middle or the bottom. If you press in at the middle, I feel like the bottom is fine, and then that way I can see my lines and set up my laser. So that's what we're going to do for these. I'm going to secure it here. Down there you can see I'm right on where I need to be, maybe just off by a hair, and you can't see it, but up top we're right on where we need to be, so I should be able to just shoot that line. So we're going to go ahead and do tape measure, just as an easy way for me to get the first row, and then I can kind of eyeball the remainder, but we'll start it off here at about 1 foot. Well, that worked perfectly. I hate this DeWalt tape measure. I hate it. It is so floppy. And obviously, I've gone through a ton of tape measures, so this is what I have left at this point. But it makes me mad because it doesn't like to stay. It's very, 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 very floppy. And I find that most annoying. Here. So the second sheet over covered up the window so it's darker in here. We have our laundry stuff. We have our supply, our drain that I have to break that cap off. And then we've got 2 outlets behind the drywall that have all got to go into this sheet. And you can see I've started marking them off. So what I've done is I've got this onto the 5/8 so that I can slide it. It's really, really close. It's close enough compared to the 3/4 that I was using. And then all I did is I just slid it right up against this, marked that on this side, and then moved it over and did the same for those 2 outlets that are back behind there. And having done that, you can see those 2 marks there. I then pulled the tape from the already installed sheet on like coming partway through the window over there, and then brought it over, and then just measured, you know, each side of each of those articles, and then I wrote those in at about the right height, just scratched them in, and now I'm just going to take my drywall square and then make my cross lines, and that should give me a pretty accurate cut. So I'm going to come back and put the proper mud ring on that guy. I completely forgot about that. That box, no way to install it out further than that because of where the installation holes are. So it needs an extension of mud ring to bring that out to the proper spacing. But we got this chunk cut out for the window. The other side we'll do when we move our shelving again. And it fits in real nice. And what I just was looking at was, this is about 41.5 inches from there to there, okay? That's 8 minus. So like I'm gonna say like down here it's 8. Up there it is 7 7/8, 7 3/4, something like that. So 8 minus and 7 3/4 plus, we'll say. Now that's a little bit more than 48 inches, but it isn't much. This wall is 1/2 inch, okay? So it's a shear wall, and because of that, when I go over top of this with drywall, I could realistically put the drywall screws more or less anywhere, especially if it were just one spot, okay? So I'm thinking that I'm going to take this board and I'm going to cut the back at about 7.5 inches in and just kind of fold it and fit it back into that corner and call it a day. So that's something I found on this big speed square. It has little divots for your quarter, your half, your full inch. Every one of those has a divot, and I can actually put the blade into that divot and it will hold. So it gets me a nice even cut all the way across. I don't like to do it on the face because this is pretty beat up and there's a couple spots on it that tend to scratch the face a little bit, but works pretty good. Mr. Sheetrock, do you feel inclined to kind of just go where I want you here? Do I need to score you more? Thinking maybe it wants me to give it a better score. There we go. Oh, there we go. We're going. Get that ladder here. So I had to get the ladder. Trying to come in here on the top. And we're tighter than I'd hoped we'd be up here. So I'm gonna push and hope it doesn't just rip this thing. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna push that way. So I just had to move that bottom board this way to untighten this corner to get this piece to go in. So now we're flat over here, which means I can go ahead and install this corner up here. And I've marked where the metal plate is, and it is so in the way. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna end up pinning this in and then shimming this side, I think. I don't know that I have a whole lot of choices. At the end of the day, pretty close to. So I'm gonna try and lift one of these guys up onto the lift here. I'm already tired, so I figure if I can, when I'm already tired, then it should be fairly easy when I'm not. Oh, don't be that way. Don't be that way. Making this hard on me. Oh, I should have planned that better. There we go. Oh, that's the styrofoam. I was like, what is that sound? We're just gonna go ahead and lose the hat. Okay, back to the middle here, and hopefully I can make this work. Man, I'm not confident about this anymore. Tell you what, I got to get this up quite a bit higher than I am right now. Oh, I see. All right, here we go. Yeah, I thought you might do that. Not that it really matters. Oh, man. Come on, almost there. If I just give it a flat, I can adjust it after the fact. Maybe that's the play. I think that might be the play. Just trying to get it to grab this puppy. Grab it. Grab it, grab it. Ah. That is heavy. And it is on my hand. The lift isn't so bad, but it just kept catching on everything, man. Hard to get it to where it's the correct right angle to the wall and the other wall, and all right. Woo! So we're tight. We're not tight in that corner, and I'm rubbing this pink stuff. So there's the deal. That is gnarly. No wonder. There's something very unsquare about this corner. Okay, I think I just bought myself the space I needed to get that to go. Looks like we have a little catch bit there. Thanks for building with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.